When Lin Momo spilled half a cup of hot coffee onto my chest, the entire tea room fell into silence. She looked at Jiyu Chengyang with red eyes, her voice soft and filled with a sense of deep grievance. President Jiyu, I just asked Wen Zai to help me copy the documents, but she scolded me for relying on men to get ahead in life. Gu Chengyang gave me a glance. He didn't ask how painful it was. Instead, he lowered his voice and said, Zai, apologize to Momo. Don't make this a big deal. I didn't make any noise. I used a tissue to cover up the burned skin, while with the other hand, I took out the wedding ring that I had worn for 3 years. The ring touched the screen of the phone, producing a very soft sound. I simply opened the recording and saved it at the same time. I stopped sending the monthly transfer of 500,000 yuan from Gu's account. The coffee dripped down onto my white shirt, hot, sticky, the kind of tolerances that I have had in my 3-year marriage, those things that I couldn't bring myself to say. All of them now come flooding back to me at this moment. There was a crowd standing at the entrance to the tea room. Some people covered their mouths, others lowered their heads, and some pretended to be looking at their phones. Lin Momo stood in front of me, holding an empty paper cup in her hand. Today, she wore a light pink skirt, her hair was neatly curled and her eyes were red. It seemed like I had bullied her. She said in a soft voice, Wen Zai, I know you don't like me, but I'm just an intern. You don't need to act like this towards me. I watched her. She is 5 years younger than me. She has only been working at Gushi Technology for less than 2 months. But she already seems to be able to handle her duties in the administrative department without any problems, because she could use Jiyu Chengyan's private elevator every day, because she called Jiyu Chengyang brother Ayang, because she would say in front of the employees, President Jiyu treats me well because my father used to help him in the past. These words are not false at all. In those years, the Lin family indeed provided a startup fund to Jiyu Chengyang. But she didn't know that the person who really pulled Jiyu Chengyang back from the brink of bankruptcy was me. 3 years ago, Jiyu Chengyang knelt down below my apartment, saying that he didn't want the Jiyu family to look down on him. He promised that he would arrange a grand and public wedding for me. I gave Chaochi Capital its first private investment to him. I will guarantee his debt for him. I have resolved the issues with his suppliers for him. I accompanied him from that small office in the suburbs to the headquarters of Gushi Technology today. Later, he said that since the company just went public, any exposure related to their marriage could affect its valuation. He said that once the situation of the Jiyu family stabilizes, he will definitely make the announcement public. I believed it. By today, he is still standing at the door of the tea room. Even his way of pronouncing my name sounds like that of a troublesome document. In understanding terms, Jiyu Chengyang walked in. He was dressed in a formal suit with a cold and distant demeanor. Before, I thought he was calm and steady, but now I realize that when he becomes cold, it's always me who feels the first shock. He looked at Lin Momo, then at the coffee stain on my chest. His gaze remained fixed on that spot for only a second. Then he said, Momo just started working here. She doesn't know many things yet. You're an experienced employee, so don't bother with her. I laughed once. She spilled coffee on me. Lin Momo immediately choked up and said, I didn't do it on purpose. It was her who suddenly reached out and pushed me. I was so scared that I lost my balance and the cup fell. Someone nearby whispered in agreement. It seems like when Zai spoke too aggressively earlier. She usually doesn't like to talk to people at all. Momo is still young. I guess he really didn't do it on purpose. I looked up at Jiyu Chengyang. I want to see if he will ask whether anyone in the tea room has managed to see clearly. Or one more question, Wen Zai, did you get any burns? But he just frowned. Okay, the company isn't some random marketplace. You should apologize to Momo and then everything will be fine. The tea room is even more quiet now. I heard someone taking a quiet breath. They don't know that I am Jiyu Chengyan's wife, but they know that I spent 3 years working at Jiyu Company, even as just an ordinary employee in the administrative department. I never made any mistakes. Now an intern spilled my coffee, and yet the CEO asked me to apologize. This is no longer a matter of one being right and the other wrong. It was Jiyu Chengyang who, in front of everyone, pressed my face to the ground. Lin Momo bit her lip, but there was a hint of pride in her eyes that she couldn't hide. She certainly knew that Jiyu Chengyang would protect her. I didn't respond. I took several tissues and slowly wiped the coffee off my hands. Then I threw the tissue into the trash can. President Jiyu. That was the first time I called him that way in the company. Jiyu Chengyan's brows twitched slightly. I can apologize. Lin Momo's eyes lit up. I continued, but I need to check the visitor registration at the entrance of the tea room, as well as the maintenance records related to this coffee machine. It was repaired last week. To prevent any disputes over burns, the administrative department put up a notice there. It's easy to determine who was in the position where the cup was touched. Lin Momo's expression changed. She didn't expect me to remember this. Ji Chengyang also looked at me. Please stop making such a mess. I nodded my head. Then I won't look. I picked up the employee ID card on the table, and then turned to leave. There was a faint cry coming from behind me. It was Lin Momo's voice, crying softly. President Ji, I really didn't mean to do that. Shouldn't I not come to Ji Corporation? Everyone thinks that by taking care of me I'm causing you trouble. Ji Chengyang gently comforted her. No one is forcing you to leave. I didn't stop walking. I walked to the bathroom, closed the door behind me, and took off my shirt and coat, which were now soaked with coffee. A red spot on my chest that feels very hot. I rinsed my face with cold water for 5 minutes, then turn on the mobile phone. The recording that was made just now has been automatically saved. I looked at the file name and it has been changed to Tea Room Incident 11. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. I clicked on the bank's automatic transfer page again. Guji Life account 500,000 per month. Note, household expenses, 3 years 18 million. With this money, Zhu Lanji bought jewelry, paid off the gambling debts of Ji Chengyan's younger brother, and also used it to arrange trips for her relatives, but she always told everyone that she was a person who was supported by Ji Chengyang. I stared at the screen for 2 seconds, then clicked cancel. The system displays a confirmation box. I didn't hesitate at all. Cancelled. The phone vibrated slightly. It's a message sent by my mother-in-law, Zhu Lanji. When we get home for dinner, Momo will also come. Remember to don't dress in too casual clothes. Don't lose the dignity of Chengyang. I replied with just 4 words. Not necessarily. A call came from over there soon. I hung up the phone. Another message appears. When Zai, your temper is getting worse by the day. Don't forget that if Chengyang hadn't married you, you wouldn't be working in such a difficult place at all. I looked at those words and suddenly I laughed. It turns out that they all think the same way. Gu Chengyang thought so, Zhu Lanji thought so, Lin Momo also thought the same. Everyone thought that once I left Ji Chengyang, I would become nothing. I locked my phone screen, put on my spare jacket, and returned to my workstation. The news has already spread through the administrative department. Lin Momo sat next to me, holding a piece of information in her hands. With red eyes she said, Zai. Sister, if you don't like me, I will stay away from you from now on. I pulled up the chair and sat down. Okay. She was stunned. I looked up at her. Remember to stay away from me. The colleague next to me couldn't help but laugh, but quickly tried to hold back. Lin Momo's face turned pale. She didn't expect me to listen to her words right in front of her. She lowered her head and tears fell even faster. I just want to get along with you properly. I turned on the computer. Then please return my workstation to me, at least for now. She bit her lip and stood up. Just as she turned around, the computer screen on my desk lit up. An image suddenly appeared on the screen. I just took a quick look, and my finger stopped in mid-air. That is a screenshot of my personal transfer transaction. It's not Gu's salary card. It was the first sum of money that I transferred from the private account of Chaoshi Capital to Ji Chengyan's company 3 years ago. The amount is 30 million. The screenshot was edited. By removing the recipient's information, only my name and the amount remain visible. Lin Momo hurriedly shut down the computer. What are you looking at? I lean back on the chair. I wonder why your computer has a screenshot of my personal account. Her face turned pale in an instant, but soon, she straightened her back again. These are the materials that Director Ji asked me to organize. Ji Chengyang asked her to organize my personal transfer records. I looked at her, and the last bit of warmth in my heart faded away. It turns out that it wasn't just Lin Momo who was trying to test me. It seems that Ji Chengyang is also investigating me, or rather, he wanted to know how much more money I could come up with. I didn't say anything anymore. I picked up my phone and sent a message to Shun Sui. Shun Sui quickly replied. Finally, I typed one more word. Before leaving work, Ji Chengyang called me to go to his office. When I pushed the door open, I found Lin Momo sitting on his sofa, drinking milk tea. Ji Chengyang didn't allow her to go out. He pushed a document towards me. The matter regarding the tea room is hereby concluded. You should write a statement explaining that it was all a misunderstanding. I looked down at that piece of paper. It's already written down above. Basically, I was emotionally unstable and I misunderstood the intern. This caused negative effects within the company. I am willing to apologize for this. I looked up at him and asked, "Do you want me to sign it, Gu?" Cheng Yang rubbed his forehead. "It is important to ensure that there are no rumors of bullying," I asked softly. "So it's me who is being bullied, does that really matter?" His expression became somber. "Do you really have to be so strict?" Lin Momo said softly. "President Gu, maybe we shouldn't go any further. If Sister Zai doesn't want to continue, then let's give up. It's okay if I have to suffer a little inconvenience. It doesn't have to affect your relationship." "Your feelings," she said those 4 words very softly. It seems like they deliberately left some dignity for me. It seems like she deliberately reminded me of who I was. I picked up that document explaining the situation. Gu Chengyang exhaled in relief. In the next second, "I will tear the paper into 2 pieces right in front of him." The office was in complete silence. I placed the shredded paper back onto the table. "Gu Chengyang, from today on I will no longer pretend to be your savior." He stared at me. "Wen Zai, do you really know what you're saying?" I nodded. "I know." I turned around and left. As the door closed, I heard Lin Momo whisper, "President Gu, does Sister Zai think we have misunderstood her?" Gu Chengyang did not answer, and I stood outside the door, saving that conversation as a second file. File name: explanation of the situation regarding forced signing. Early the next morning, my workstation was completely messed up by someone who was doing whatever they wanted there. The drawer is open. The folder fell to the ground, my cup broke over the ground, and the water spilled next to the power strip. The power light kept flashing continuously. The people from the administrative department stood around nearby. No one moved. Lin Momo stood at the front of the crowd, her face pale, with tears hanging on her eyelashes. Standing next to her was Gu Chengyang, and there's also the marketing department manager. As soon as I walked over, Lin Momo stepped back. "Zai sister, could you please give me those items back? That bracelet was left to me by my mother." I looked at my drawer. The top layer was pulled open, and inside there was a deep blue jewelry box. "That box isn't mine." Lin Momo choked with tears and said, "Yesterday afternoon I took off my bracelet and left it in the tea room. After that, it disappeared. I didn't want to say anything, but someone saw you entering the tea room." I asked, "So you were sneaking into my work area?" The marketing department manager said coldly, "Wen Zai, this is not the time to get involved in disputes over who has access to your workspace. The item is in your drawer. You should explain yourself first." "I didn't touch that box at all. I just took a photo with my phone," Lin Momo immediately said in a shrill voice. "What are you trying to do? Are you trying to threaten me?" I ignored her. I photographed the drawer, the tabletop, the broken cup, and the people who were standing around watching. Gu Chengyang finally spoke up. "That's enough." His voice was not loud, but it was very cold. "I understand. Please return the bracelets to Momo and write a letter of apology. This matter will be handled internally without calling the police." I turned to look at him. "Don't call the police." He frowned. "Do you really want to make things worse and get yourself arrested at the police station?" I laughed. "Of course I want to do that. If it's a case of theft and framing others, I should definitely report it to the police." Lin Momo's face became even paler. She quickly grabbed Gu Chengyang's sleeve. "President Gu, please don't call the police. I don't want to leave a record of this incident behind." It's possible that she was just confused for a moment. Gu Chengyang's gaze towards her became slightly softer for a moment. In that moment, I suddenly felt it was absurd. I have been married to him for 3 years. I was hospitalized due to stomach bleeding. He was in another place discussing projects. I said it wasn't a problem for him. His mother scolded me for not having children. I said it was the old woman's fault. He ran out of startup capital. I sold 2 paintings that I had collected in hopes that things would get better in the future. But now, just because an intern shed 2 tears, he is willing to blame me for her sake. I reached out and picked up the jewelry box. The marketing manager immediately shouted, "Don't touch it." I didn't open it at all. I only looked at the side of the box. There is a small maintenance label attached to it. The number is clearly marked M0927. I asked Lin Momo, "Do you think this was something your mother left for you?" She nodded. "Yes." "When was it purchased?" "Many years ago." "Where did you buy it?" She bit her lip. "I don't know. It's something belonging to my mother." I nodded my head, then placed the box back on the table. Then let's investigate it, Ji Chengyang said in a deep voice. What are you looking for? Check the purchase records, check the maintenance records, who put it into my drawer? The marketing department manager became impatient. Wen Ziyi, please. Don't change the subject. I turned my attention to Xiao Zhao from the administrative department. Xiao Zhao, who is responsible for managing the spare keys for storage cabinets and workbench drawers. Xiao Zhao looked embarrassed. Administrative front desk. Who borrowed it yesterday? She lowered her head, not daring to speak. I stared at her. Xiao Zhao, any lending of company keys requires registration. You just need to follow the instructions in the registration form. Ji Chengyang turned to look at her. Xiao Zhao spoke in a very low voice. Yesterday at 4:30 p.m. Lin Momo asked for my help. It seemed that President Ji asked her to assist with the collection of employees' files. Lin Momo immediately started crying. I went there just to get some documents. I wasn't there to rummage through her drawers, I said. Didn't you just say that the bracelet was lost in the tea room yesterday? Why did you lend me your spare key at 4:30 in the evening? Lin Momo choked with words. Ji Chengyan's expression changed, but he quickly pressed down on it. Momo just arrived here. He isn't familiar with the procedures yet, so it's possible that he might have picked the wrong keys. I watched him, got the wrong key, took my desk, and then tried to put her mother's belongings into my drawer. His brows were tightly furrowed. Wen Ziyi, do you really have to make every word of your speech so unpleasant? I didn't respond. I picked up the jewelry box and handed it to Ji Chengyang. Look at the side. Maintenance number. He looked down briefly. His expression changed slightly. I said, after repairing this product it will be linked to the payment account and phone number. Just check to find out. Lin Momo suddenly stretched out her hand to compete with him. Don't search, this is my privacy. I avoided her. The jewelry box slipped through her fingers and fell to the ground. The box lid shattered open, the bracelet inside slipped out. The diamond shines brightly under the light, someone whispered in shock. This one probably costs over 100,000, right? Lin Momo cried even more loudly. Ziyi sister, why do you have to force me to do this? I know you hate me because President Ji takes care of me, but you can't humiliate the belongings of my mother like this. This statement is spoken beautifully. In that instant, the onlookers began to waver in their decisions. Ji Chengyang bent down to pick up the bracelet. He gave me a glance. Let's leave this matter here for now. I asked, why did you come here? He spoke in a low voice. I understand. Please don't make things difficult for me. I said softly. Ji Chengyang, it's you who makes it difficult for me to act. His Adam's apple moved slightly. Lin Momo stood beside him, her eyes flickering with a hint of pride. I didn't continue to argue anymore. I returned to my workstation and picked up the documents that were on the ground one by one. Sister Chen squatted down to help me. She is an experienced employee from the administrative department. She doesn't have a very close relationship with me, but she's quite straightforward in her dealings, she said in a low voice. Ziyi, don't push back. President Ji clearly favors her right now. I swept the broken cups into the trash bag. I know, Sister Chen sighed. Then why did you still investigate? I looked at the documents on the table, which were wrinkled and damaged due to the water. It's precisely because we know about it that we need to investigate. At noon, Shen Sui came to see me. Downstairs at the company, she was wearing a black suit, holding a cup of coffee in her hand, sitting in the car and staring at the burn on my chest. Your marriage finally starts to have some real value after all. I was furious with her. Can you act like a normal best friend instead? She handed me a letter of authorization. I've signed it. I'll help you notarize the electronic evidence. I'll check the serial number of the bracelet's repair record. By the way, I'll also organize the financial transactions you've made with Ji Jiao and Ji family over the past 3 years. I will sign it. She looked at my hands. Where's the ring? Taken away. Does Ji Chengyang know about this? I guess they still don't know yet. Shen Sui leaned back against the chair. He will regret it. I shook my head. It's not important. She raised her eyebrows. I said, I don't want to know whether he will regret it later. All I want to know is what further steps can he take in order to protect Lin Momo. At 4:00 in the afternoon, Shen Sui sent out a message. The bracelets have been identified. Purchase date March 23rd last month. Payment account Ji Chengyan's private black card. Recipient Lin Momo. I looked at those 3 lines of text, and it felt like something had pierced my heart gently. It's not because of money, because Jiyu Chengyang never bought me any jewelry before. Our wedding ring is a simple ring that I chose myself. He said that during the startup phase there's no need to go through unnecessary extravagances. I say yes. He said that the Jiyu family doesn't like to be too public or attention-getting. I say yes. He said he would make up for it later. I agree with that too. It turns out that he isn't unable to deliver the gifts at all, it just didn't get sent to me at all. Before leaving work, Jiyu Chengyang sent me a message. I'll be home for dinner tonight, Mom wants to tell you something. I replied, I have something to do. He quickly replied, Momo should go too, don't make the situation look bad. I stared at that sentence. It turns out that he wasn't afraid that I might suffer any harm. It's because they're afraid that I might make Lin Momo look unappealing. I put away my phone and left, carrying my bag with me. Just as she reached the elevator door, Lin Momo chased after her. There were no more tears on her face. Dear Sister Zai, her voice is very sweet, don't blame President Jiyu. He just feels sorry for me being young and worried that I might be scared by you. I didn't look at her at all. The elevator doors open, she followed me in. After the door was closed, she suddenly leaned in close to me, speaking in a low voice. Actually, I already know whether you are Mrs. Jiyu. I turned my head around. Lin Momo smiled. But what does that matter? President Jiyu doesn't dare to publicly recognize you. The Jiyu family doesn't even acknowledge your existence as a wife. You're even inferior to the company's cleaners. She reached out and adjusted the collar of my shirt for me. They act affectionately, but their words are like knives. Guess who would believe you if I said you stole something? Would Jiyu trust you? The elevator stopped on the first floor. The door opens. People came and went in the hall. Lin Momo immediately put on a sulky expression and took a step back. Zai sister, please don't push me. I didn't move at all, but she sprained her ankle and fell to the ground. Jiyu Chengyang was just walking towards him from the other side of the hall. The timing is perfect, as if it had been rehearsed in advance. He stepped forward and helped up Lin Momo, then he looked up at me. That glance. Disappointment, blame, strangeness. When Zai, have you had enough of this nonsense? I looked at Lin Momo lying on the ground. I also took a look at the elevator cameras above my head. This time, I didn't provide any explanations. I just took out my phone and called the property management. Hello, I would like to request access to the video recordings from the public area near the elevator on the first floor. Jiyu Chengyan's expression turned somber immediately. Do you think it's not embarrassing? Enough, I watched him. It's not embarrassing at all, I said word by word. It's you who are ashamed. Jiyu family's birthday banquet was held at a villa located in the southern part of the city. By the time I arrived, the living room was already filled with relatives. Zhu Lanji was wearing a dark red cheongsam, with a jade bracelet on her wrist, a bracelet that I had just paid for her last month. When she saw me, the smile on her face immediately faded. Why are you coming back so late? The elders in this room are waiting for you. Do you not have any rules to follow? I'll change my shoes. I didn't say that I would definitely come. Zhu Lanji's expression turned serious. You're becoming more and more of a troublemaker, aren't you? There are people in the living room trying to make the atmosphere lively. I'm too busy with my work. Zhu Lanji sneered. She's just a trivial administrative worker. What's there for her to worry about? She still relies on Chengyang's kindness to act in a superior manner. I didn't say anything. In the past, on such occasions, I would smile while serving tea, help with setting the table, and remember every relative's preferences, because I want to make Jiyu Chengyang feel a little more relaxed. He was caught between his mother and me. He also used to feel tired sometimes, but later I realized that those who are put between the two always force me to back away from them. I walked towards the dining room. Sitting next to the main position was Lin Momo. She wore a white dress and obediently spent time talking with Zhu Lanji. Zhu Lanji patted her hand. Momo is still sensible. She's young, but her words are sweet, and she has a bright future ahead, unlike some people who get married here, but haven't even had a child after 3 years of marriage. The living room was quiet for a moment. Jiyu Chengyang stood next to the bar, holding a glass of wine in his hand. He heard it, but he didn't say anything. Lin Momo quickly said, Auntie, please don't say that to Sister Zai. Maybe she just has too much work pressure. Zhu Lanji grunted slightly. What kind of pressures does she have to bear? Chengyang takes care of her, and the Jiyu family gives her a good reputation, but she still feels unsatisfied. I sat down, taking the seat that was at the far end of the table. Zhu Lanji immediately frowned. That's the place where the servants sit to receive their meals. I looked up. Then where should I sit? She looked around for a while, then said indifferently, "Today there are many relatives around here. Since you arrived late, I guess you'll have to make do with this situation." Jiyu Chengyang finally spoke up. "Mom," I thought he might say something, but he said, "Today is your birthday, don't get angry over such a small matter. It's a trivial matter. My position, my dignity, and my 3-year-long marriage, all of these are considered trivial matters in his eyes." I looked down at my phone. Zhu Lanji's lifestyle account has encountered an error in automatic deductions, and I have already received a bank message regarding this issue. She probably hasn't noticed yet. At the dinner table, Lin Momo acts like the hostess. She helped Zhu Lanji with the food. "Please pour some wine for Jiyu Chengyang," telling relatives about interesting stories about the company. When talking about the incident in the tea room, she deliberately paused for a moment. "Actually, Ji," my relatives immediately looked at me. Jiyu Chengyang put down his chopsticks. "Mom, please stop talking." Lin Momo lowered her head. "I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose." Zhu Lanji sneered. "What's there to not say? Our Jiyu family always tries to be reasonable. If someone makes a mistake, they should admit it." I put down my chopsticks. "Okay." Everyone looked at me. I asked Lin Momo, "Have you found out anything about her bracelet purchase records?" Her face became stiff. Jiyu Chengyan's eyes became serious. "When Zai, I watched him. Didn't you say that? The Jiyu family is known for being very reasonable. Then let's prove it." Zhu Lanji became impatient. "What kind of bracelet?" I said. "Miss Lin said that I stole her mother's belongings, but those belongings were actually bought for her by Jiyu Chengyang last month." The table fell silent in an instant. Someone's chopsticks stopped in mid-air. Zhu Lanji's expression also changed. She looked at Jiyu Chengyang. "Chengyang." Jiyu Chengyang clenched his wine glass tightly. "It's just gifts given by customers to each other." I laughed. "Gifts from clients delivered to interns' homes using your personal card to do so." Lin Momo's eyes immediately turned red. "Zai sister, why did you have to say these words on Auntie's birthday?" "President Jiyu just noticed that my bracelet was broken, so he bought me a matching one instead." I nodded in agreement. "So it isn't a relic at all." She bit her lip. Jiyu Chengyang interrupted me. "That's enough." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried a warning tone. "Today is my mother's birthday. Why do you have to ruin the family celebration?" I watched him. "Do you think it's because I caused the chaos?" He walked up to me, speaking in a low voice. "Let's talk about this when we get back." I didn't move at all. Zhu Lanji suddenly slapped the chopsticks onto the table. "When Zai, why are you making such a face right now? What's the matter with Chengyang buying something for that little girl? Momo is much more sensible than you. If you really don't want to continue this relationship, then sign the divorce agreement sooner. Don't keep holding on to the position of Mrs. Jiyu anymore." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone at the table was stunned. Jiyu Chengyan's expression changed. "Mom," however, Zhu Lanji seemed to have endured this for a long time. "Did I say something wrong? You got married secretly 3 years ago. Wasn't it because you were afraid she wouldn't be able to show her background? If it weren't for her persistent efforts, would you have married her?" I looked at Jiyu Chengyang. He avoided looking at me. It turns out that he didn't even explain this at all. In her words, "Our marriage was nothing but a futile effort on my part. But 3 years ago, it was he who waited for me in the rain for 5 hours. It was he who held the household registration book and said, 'Zai, I have nothing right now, but in the future, I will definitely give you everything.' I once believed that those words were true. Now that I think about it, that was simply the cheapest offer he could make during his lowest moments." Lin Momo whispered. "Auntie, please don't be angry. Sister Zai might just be too fond of President Jiyu. That's why she feels so worried." Zhu Lanji becomes even more popular. "Love, what does she have to show for her love? She eats things made by Gujia, uses products made by Gujia, and also has to worry about who will buy things for her men." I turned on my phone and entered the bank's website. Zhu Lanji is still scolding. "Let me tell you, women should be sensible. What is Chengyang's current status? She will have plenty of social engagements in the future. If she can't even tolerate a little girl like Momo, how can she ever become the wife of someone like Jiyu?" I clicked to open the Guji Life account. Automatic transfer has been cancelled. Disabled the additional permissions of the backup credit card. Villa property withholding has been cancelled. Cancel the automatic deduction for Ji Chungyen's car loan. Brother Julanji's phone rang. She looked down and her expression changed instantly. Immediately afterwards Gu's younger brother Ji Chungza also started to shout, "Mom, why did the payment for my car loan fail?" Julanji stared at me. "When Zai, was it you who did this?" I placed my phone on the table. "Yes." She stood up furious. "What gives you the right to stop?" I looked at the jade bracelet in her hand. "That card belongs to me." The dining table completely burst apart. Isn't it Cheng Yang who pays for the family's living expenses? I know your intentions, but where do you get all this money from? Ji Chungyen's face turned a deep blue color. He probably didn't expect that I would say it out loud right here. Julanji didn't believe it. "You're talking nonsense. How much does your monthly salary amount to? Can you afford to cover our household expenses?" I picked up my bag. "So, starting from today, you will have to pay for yourselves." Gu Chengyang reached out and grabbed me. "When Zai, what on earth do you want to do?" I looked down at his hands. "Let go." He didn't put it away. I looked up at him. "Gu Chengyang, if you keep pulling me along like this, I will make it clear to everyone right now. Where does your company get its first batch of money?" His hand became stiff. Lin Momo looked at me and for the first time a look of panic appeared in her eyes. Julanji couldn't understand anything, and just scolded him. "Who are you threatening?" "I don't need to explain anything anymore." I let go of Ji Chungyen's hand and turned around to leave. As she approached the door, Julanji called out from behind her, "If you dare to leave today, then don't ever enter the doors of the Ji family again." I stopped, looked back at her. "Okay," I said, "then I won't enter." At 10 p.m. Ji Chengyang called. I didn't answer. At 11 o'clock Julanji called. I didn't answer either. At 12 o'clock, Ji Chungza sent me a message criticizing me. "Sister-in-law, you're going too far. On your mother's birthday you make her feel embarrassed. Are you still human after all this?" I replied, "Don't call her sister-in-law." He replied immediately, "What do you mean?" I didn't go back anymore. Shen Sui sent over the initial draft of the divorce agreement. "I'll take a look." Divorce-related property settlement, joint debt audit, Gu's early investment recovery terms, details of GU family-related consumer expenditures. Every page is very clear and easy to read. At the end, I saw my fingers pause over the signature field. "When Zai, I have written these 3 words many times. It's written in the investment agreement. It is written on the guarantee document. It was written on every vital contract that Ji Chengyang signed during the early stages of his business endeavors, but everyone in the Ji family only remembers me as Mrs. Ji. It seems that Mrs. Ji still cannot be seen in public." I picked up the pen and signed my name at the end of the agreement. As the pen tip touched the paper, the doorbell rang. I looked out from behind the cat eye. Ji Chengyang stood outside the door with his suit coat draped over his arms. His eyes showed signs of exhaustion. He is holding the wedding ring that I left behind at Gu's family's house. It turns out that he finally figured it out. He pressed the second button for the doorbell. "Sound is coming through the door." "I understand. Open the door, let's talk." I didn't turn it on. I just said through the door. "Ji Chengyang, the divorce agreement will be delivered to your office tomorrow." The silence outside the door lasted for a long time. Then he asked, "Is it just because of Mo?" "Mo?" I laughed. Up to this point he still believed that it was because of Lin Momo. I said, "No, it's because of you." On the day when the divorce agreement was delivered to Ji Chungyen's office, something went wrong with the company project. The marketing department's new product plans have been leaked. Competing products are released ahead of time with almost identical marketing slogans, key selling points and pricing strategies. Gu's inner circle has gone crazy. Ji Chengyang convened an emergency meeting at 10 a.m. this morning. I was selected to participate in the activity. As I entered the meeting room, Lin Momo was already sitting next to Ji Chengyang. Her eyes were red and swollen, and she was holding a tissue in her hand. There is a printed document on the table. The cover reads, "Preliminary instructions on the channels for disclosing information." As soon as I saw the title, I knew that this scene was meant for me. The marketing department manager was the first to speak. Based on the current investigation, the leaked document was last seen on the printers in the administrative department. "When Zai, you were still at the company at 7:30 last night, right?" I sat down. "Yes." "Have you ever printed any materials related to the marketing department?" "Administrative procurement contracts have been printed," Lin Momo immediately said. But I saw you entering the marketing department last night. I looked at her. What time is it? She bit her lip. It's past 7 o'clock. What time exactly? I was too nervous at that time, so I didn't see anything clearly. The marketing department manager sneered. You don't need to be too specific. The surveillance definitely shows that you did pass by the marketing department. I asked, does passing through equal entering? There was no one in the meeting room who spoke at that moment. Jiyu Chengyang handed me the documents. It's important to understand that this matter can be handled in either a major or minor way. Currently, the company is in a critical period of financing, and we definitely cannot allow any leaks or scandals to occur. I opened that document. All the arrows inside are pointing towards me. I worked overtime last night. I passed by the marketing department. My workstation is located near the printer. I have a conflict with Lin Momo. The last one is the most ridiculous. It is suspected that in turn Lin Momo was targeted as retribution by someone with personal motives, resulting in the leakage of project information. I closed the document. What about the evidence? The marketing manager said. What evidence do you need? It's clear that you and Momo have the most conflicts within the company. I looked at Jiyu Chengyang. Do you think the same? He remained silent for 2 seconds. I don't want to think like that. Saying I did it is even more disgusting than just admitting it outright. I don't want to think like this. But I already have thought in that way. Lin Momo cried out loud. President Jiyu, it's all my fault. If I hadn't gotten into conflict with Sister Zai, she wouldn't have done such something out of impulse. I laughed softly. You're really good at pleading guilty on my behalf. She choked up. Jiyu Chengyang frowned. When Zai, this is not the time to talk nonsense. He took out a document. You sign this. I bow my head down. Description of the situation. It's still in the familiar format, but this time it's more serious. I acknowledge that due to improper handling of personal emotions, information was leaked. I voluntarily accept any necessary internal disciplinary actions as a result. I looked up at him. Do you want me to take the blame for Lin Momo's actions? Lin Momo quickly shook her head. No, Sister Zai, no one is forcing you to take responsibility for this. We just want to minimize the losses. I asked, to minimize the losses, why am I the one who has to sign? Jiyu Chengyang spoke in a low voice. Because you are my wife. The conference room was quiet for a moment. Lin Momo's face turned pale. The marketing manager was also stunned. This was the first time that Jiyu Chengyang mentioned our relationship within the company. It's not for the purpose of protecting me. It's so that I can take on the risks for him. He continued, if you sign, I will take care of everything. No one outside will know, and the company won't fire you either. I looked at him, and suddenly felt that this man was utterly unfamiliar to me. He knows that I am his wife. That's why he's even more willing to sacrifice me, because he believes that I will be able to consider the overall situation carefully. I will take care to consider all aspects of the situation. A person who values family ties. I will ensure that he maintains his dignity before starting his financing process. I picked up that document explaining the situation. There was a hint of relaxation in Jiyu Chengyang's eyes. Perhaps he thinks that I will still be like I used to be, as long as his tone is gentler, as long as he says for our future. I will lower my head. I flipped the page to the second one. I see a permission number D17. This is the account number used to download confidential data. I torn off that page and put it into my bag. Then, I torn the remaining documents into pieces. Crinkles fell onto the conference table. Lin Momo was so frightened that she stood up immediately. The marketing department manager angrily said, Wen Zai, have you gone mad? I looked at Jiyu Chengyang. I won't sign it. His face became completely somber. Do you know the consequences? I know. I stood up. Therefore, I recommend that you report this matter to the police or hire a third-party auditor to conduct an audit. Otherwise, whoever wants to take the blame for this situation can do so. After saying that, I turned around and left the meeting room. Jiyu Chengyang called out to me from behind me. When Zai, I didn't turn around. Back at my desk, I sent the permission number to Shun Sui. Shun Sui quickly replied, this number indicates that it's not a regular employee's permission level, it's at least at the level of a director. I asked, can we find out the IP address from which the login was performed? The company's internal network requires internal access rights. But don't forget, you are an investor, and you have the right to demand audits. I stared at the word investor. I didn't really want to reveal this card so quickly. but Gu Chengyang has already pushed me to this point. In the afternoon, Financial Director Han Yuanan came to the administration department to see me. He is one of the few people in the Jiyu family who know my true identity. Back then, Jiyu Chengyang faced a financial crisis. Han Yuanan witnessed me signing the investment agreement with his own eyes. He stood next to my desk, his voice very low. President, when the board has received the audit report from Chaochi Capital. I nodded. Follow the process step by step. He looked around. Does President Jiyu know about this? We will find out soon. Han Yuanan wanted to say something but then hesitated. I watched him. You want to persuade me? He shook his head. I just want to say that if it weren't for you back then, the Jiyu family wouldn't have been able to survive until now. Now they treat you like this, it's really too much. I laughed once. Do you really want to testify about this later? Han Yuanan remained silent for a few seconds. Yes, I'm willing. This is the first thing today that I consider to be not bad at all. Before leaving work, Jiyu Chengyang asked me to go to the office again. This time Lin Momo wasn't there. He stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with a straight back. The divorce agreement was placed on the table. He didn't sign anything. I walked in. Do Mr. Jiyu have any other matters to attend to? He turned around to look at me. Do you really have to call me that? I said. Shouldn't we refer to Mr. Jiyu as the CEO of the company? He choked on. After a short while, he picked up the divorce agreement. Think carefully, don't act impulsively. I asked, which one of these actions was driven by impulse, getting a divorce or not taking the blame on your own? His brows were tightly furrowed. The matter of the leak isn't yet clear. I'm asking you to sign this document in order to protect you. I laughed. Acknowledging the leakage of information is a way to protect me. He stepped closer. And then what? If Lin Momo cries again in the future, will I have to sign again? Jiyu Chengyang looked very upset. Why do you always target her? She's just an intern. I watched him. A trainee who can use your elevator, swipe your cards, take screenshots of my personal transactions, borrow my workstation keys, and even force me to memorize the secrets of the secret vault. I paused for a moment. Jiyu Chengyang, do you really call this just an intern? He remained silent. I thought he would at least try to explain something, but he said, Momo's father helped me back then. I cannot let her suffer in the event that the Jiyu family faces problems. I nodded in agreement. So, you're willing to let me get into trouble? His eyes finally showed a hint of panic. That's not what I meant. It's okay. I took out a printed document from my bag. This is the second version of the divorce agreement. It includes details regarding Gu's early investments and the claims related to Jiyu family-related consumer products. You can show this to a lawyer. He picked up the document, flipped through 2 pages, and his expression changed. You want to take back what belongs to you? Yes. Didn't you give those money voluntarily? I said. Giving financial support to the husband and his family can be considered a sign of affection, but the payments made to suppliers, security deposits, and other related expenses that are paid in advance for the company are all stipulated in the contract. Gu Chengyang stared at me. Do you really have to calculate everything so precisely? I will return the words to him. President Jiyu, our company is not a marketplace. Of course, our accounts must be kept clear and accurate. His fingers, which were holding the documents, turned white. I turned around and was about to leave. He suddenly grabbed me. I understand we have been together for 3 years. Can you really say no if you really want to? I looked down at his hands. That hand once used to apply cold packs for me when I had a fever. He also pushed the review letter towards me today. I slowly broke apart his fingers. Jiyu Chengyang, it's not you who started it first. There was a slight sound coming from outside the door. I'll be right back. Lin Momo stood at the door, holding a cup of coffee in her hand. She obviously heard it, but she pretended that she had just arrived here. President Jiyu, did I disturb you? I looked at the coffee in her hand and suddenly said, Lin Momo, remember to test the temperature before pouring it next time. Her face turned pale. Jiyu Chengyang frowned. I understand. I stopped paying attention to him as I was leaving the office. My phone rang. Shun Sui sent a message. It has been identified. The IP address used to download the confidential information is located within Jiyu Chengyan's office's internal network. The specific operating account was temporarily borrowed by Lin Momo. I stopped in my tracks. It turns out that my guess was not wrong. It really was they who handed me the knife. On the night of the annual cocktail party, the Jiyu family booked the most expensive hotel banquet hall in the city center. The hall is splendid and magnificent, the crystal lights hung down from above, creating a magnificent backdrop perfectly suited for lies. I didn't really want to go at first, but Shen Sui said, "Go if you don't appear. They will create 100 versions of what happened. Only when you do appear will they be afraid." I wore a black long dress, I didn't wear any jewelry at all. As they entered the banquet hall, many people turned to look in their direction. In the past 2 days, rumors in the company have become completely chaotic. Some people say that I stole Lin Momo's bracelet, some people say that I leaked information about the project, some people also say that I am a secret wife of Jiyu Chengyang who is kept hidden. Within the company, the more absurd the rumor, the closer it is to the truth. Just as I picked up a glass of water, Lin Momo appeared right then. She was wearing a champagne-colored dress. The moment I saw that dress, my fingers froze in place. That's a style I ordered half a year ago. It was originally planned as a formal dinner celebration in honor of Jiyu Chengyan's promises. At that time, he said that during the mid-year party, he would introduce me to everyone. I believed it. I've already measured the sizes, chosen the fabric, and even decided on my hairstyle later. He said that the financing process would be delayed, and the public release as well would be postponed. I didn't ask any questions. It turns out that the skirt wasn't wasted at all, it's just worn by someone else. Lin Momo walked up to me and made a circle around me. "Zai sister, does it look good?" President Jiyu said, "This dress suits me perfectly." I watched her. Indeed, she smiled. "You aren't angry, right?" "Why are you angry?" I placed the water glass down. "Things that aren't suitable for me, others can wear them instead. There's nothing for me to be upset about." The smile on her face froze in place. Someone nearby heard this and couldn't help but look over there. Lin Momo's eyes quickly turned red. "Zai sister, do you mean by that you're misunderstanding something? I don't know that this dress has anything to do with you." I asked, "Did what I said have anything to do with me?" She was blocked again at that moment. Jiyu Chengyang walked over. Today he is wearing a dark grey suit. The brooch is a birthday gift I gave him last year. I took a quick look and then quickly turned away, but he saw my skirt in that moment. His gaze clearly changed. Perhaps he remembered that half a year ago I stood in front of the mirror and asked him, "Will this kind of public announcement be too extravagant?" He said, "You deserve it." Now that I think about it, whether it's worth it or not, it was always up to him to decide. Lin Momo naturally took Jiyu Chengyan's arm in her hands. "Ah Yang, did I say something wrong just now? It seems that Sister Zai isn't happy anymore." Brother Iron, the expressions of those around them became more subtle. Gu Chengyang lowered his head to look at her hand, and did not immediately pull away. I also watched. In the end, he simply pulled aside a little without causing her any awkwardness. Then he said to me, "Zai, don't make any noise tonight." I laughed. "Please don't worry, President Jiyu, I won't cause any trouble." When he heard me call Manager Jiyu, his brows furrowed again. "Let's talk after the party." "There's no need for that." In understanding terms, Lin Momo interrupted, "President Jiyu, could Sister Zai go to the kitchen and check out the dishes? The administrative department is already responsible for these matters. If she stays here standing around, it will cause embarrassment to everyone." I looked at Jiyu Chengyang. He didn't immediately deny it at all. He said, "You go to the rest area first." The rest area is located outside the side door of the banquet hall. It's located near the kitchen area. Stay away from the main table and partners. I stared at him. "You want me to leave this place?" He spoke in a low voice. "There's an important client tonight. You're not in good shape right now. It's not suitable for you to meet with them." "I'm not in good shape." I was attacked by his, who spilled coffee on me, accused me of stealing things, and also accused me of revealing secrets. He said that I wasn't in the right state of mind at the time. I nodded my head. "Okay." I turned around and walked towards the side door. Behind her, Lin Momo said softly, "President Jiyu, please don't blame Sister Zai. She probably just can't accept the presence of someone else around you." My steps paused for a moment. There is no way to turn back. The hallway was very quiet. I called Shen Sui. "I planned to initiate the board audit earlier than scheduled," Shen Sui said. "Have you finally had enough?" I lean against the wall. Her voice became more serious. "Then give me that investment contract from 3 years ago, also the public commitment letter written by Jiyu Chengyang to you, the consumption records of the Jiyu family, and the evidence chain related to Lin Momo. All of these should be notarized." I said, "I will have someone deliver it right now." After hanging up the phone, I took out a plastic bag from my bag. There are 3 items inside: a copy of the investment agreement from 3 years ago, Ji-Yu Chengyan's handwritten marriage commitment letter, and also the consumption records of the Ji-Yu family that I have compiled. I really wanted to give Ji-Yu Chengyang one last chance. If he is willing to publicly explain Lin Momo's identity tonight, if he is willing to acknowledge me as his wife, and if he is willing to clear up those accusations, then I will slow down the process of getting a divorce. It's not about forgiving, it's just for appearance's sake. But he decided to let me go to the kitchen. Then there's no need for that at all. At the entrance of the hotel, Shen Sui's assistant was already waiting for him. I have handed over the file bag. The other party nodded in agreement. Mr. Wen, please rest assured the notarization will be completed before midnight tonight. President Wen. This name is spoken very softly in the hallway, but someone behind me heard them. I'll be right back. Sister Chen stood not far away, holding a plate of spare flowers in her hands. She stared at me in a dazed manner. I smiled at her. Sister Chen, you didn't hear anything tonight? She quickly reacted and nodded in agreement. I understand. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. I know Lin Momo just talked with people from the marketing department in the lounge. Ji-Yu Zong will announce her promotion tonight. It seems that she will be directly assigned to the president's office from now on. I nodded in agreement. Not surprising. Sister Chen hesitated for a moment, and she said that you're about to be fired. I laughed. Then she might be disappointed. The cocktail party officially begins. Ji-Yu Chengyang stepped onto the stage to deliver his speech. His voice was steady and calm. He talked about how Gu's company went from starting out to going public, about the team, about trust, and about the future. I stood in the shadow of the side door listening. He said, Gu's success today is due to the support of everyone who stood by him throughout the journey. I suddenly found it funny. There are many people who walk side by side with me, but the only one who was pushed into the shadows by him was me. After the speech concluded, Lin Momo was called up onto the stage. Ji-Yu Chengyang announced that she would end her internship early and start working in the president's office. Applause erupted from the audience. Lin Momo stood under the light, her eyes slightly red. She looked at Ji-Yu Chengyang. Thank you, President Ji-Yu, for trusting me. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I will work hard to live up to the expectations of brother A Yang. As soon as the words a Yang brother were spoken, some people in the audience chuckled softly. Ji-Yu Chengyan's expression changed slightly, but he didn't correct him in public. Victory glimmered in Lin Momo's eyes. She knew that he wouldn't let her feel embarrassed. She knows even better that I was watching from the side door. Sure enough, she headed towards me as soon as she stepped down from her position. Jijia sister, did you hear that? From now on I will go to the president's office. I said, congratulations. She moved closer to me. Do you know what this means? I watched her. She smiled beautifully. In the future I will be closer to President Ji-Yu. You, Mrs. Ji-Yu, who can't be seen in public, will have even less of a place here. I haven't answered yet. My phone vibrated suddenly. The secretary of the board sent a text message. President Wen, the interim audit report from Chaoshi Capital has been sent to the Ji-Yu Board of Directors. A special meeting will be held tomorrow at 9 a.m. I looked up at Lin Momo. Do you like working for the CEO? She frowned. What does that mean? I said softly. Then you must go there tomorrow. She chuckled. Of course I will go there. I nodded. Okay. She was about to say something else when the banquet hall suddenly became chaotic. Ji-Yu Chengyang received a call, and his expression immediately changed. He looked up, trying to see me through the crowd. In that glance there was shock, doubt, and also a trace of panic, a panic that had finally arrived too late. I know that he has received the audit reports. I held up the glass of water and gave him a slight smile. Then he turned around and left. At 8:30 am the next day, Ji-Yu Chengyang received 17 calls. I didn't accept it at all. At exactly 9 o'clock, I was sitting in the waiting area outside Gu's meeting room. It seems to be related to the administrative department. When Zai, the badge is still hanging on my body. Lin Momo walked over, wearing her high heels. When she saw me, she was momentarily stunned. Why are you here? I looked up. Meeting begins. It seemed like she heard a joke. You, the special board meeting. When Zai, aren't you still asleep? I didn't answer. She held the folder in her hands and deliberately sat down next to me. I heard that Chaoshi Capital is going to conduct an audit of our company. Do you know Chaoshi Capital? It's actually Gu's largest investor. President Gu didn't sleep at all last night and he's in a bad mood today. It's best for you not to cross his path. I flipped through one page of the material. Lin Momo got closer to take a look. Why do you still try to pretend? Do you really think that just by sorting out a few pieces of old paper you can influence the board of directors? I closed the documents. Lin Momo, do you really fear auditing? Her expression changed instantly. What am I afraid of? The person who should be afraid is you. The door to the meeting room opens. Han Yuanan walked out. When he saw me, he nodded slightly. President Wen, you can enter now. Lin Momo's expression became frozen in place. She doubted that she had heard correctly. President Han, what is your name for her? Han Yuanan didn't provide any explanations. Instead, he simply stepped aside to allow the door to open. I stood up, took out my badge and put it in my bag. Then we entered the meeting room. There were about a dozen people sitting inside. Gu Chengyang is in the leading position. He currently has a faint green color on his skin. When he sees me enter, his fingers become visibly tense. The secretary of the board stood up, representing Chaochi Capital MS Wen Zai. The conference room was filled with complete silence. Lin Momo followed behind, her footsteps stopping right at the door. Her face was as white as paper. I didn't look at her at all. I stood in the position opposite to Gu Chengyang. Those are the investment seats. The secretary helped me to pull up the chair. I sat down. Gu Chengyang finally spoke up. Do you really have to do this? I watched him. President Gu, let's start the meeting now. His name made a sharp sound when it entered my ears. The directors looked at each other in confusion. It seems that some people haven't yet fully processed this news. For 2 days, rumors in the company circulated that the person in charge of the administrative department was actually the founder of Chaoshi Capital. It was also Gu's most significant silent investor. Lin Momo finally realized what was going on. It's impossible. Her voice trembled with emotion. How could she be someone from Chaoshi Capital? She's clearly just an employee of the administrative department. I turned to look at her. Miss Lin, the meeting does not have any arrangements for interns to speak. I said this sentence very calmly, but it seemed like she was slapped in public. Gu Chengyang said solemnly. Momo, you go out first. Lin Momo suddenly looked at him. President Gu, go out. This time he didn't protect her, because in the eyes of the investors, directors, and legal experts, he finally understood who was more important. Lin Momo left with red eyes. After the doors were closed, the meeting officially began. I placed 3 documents on the table. First, Chaoshi Capital demands an independent audit of Gu's recent 3-month project-related leaks. Secondly, it is necessary to request a review of the records regarding the temporary authority used by the President's office and the marketing department. Thirdly, we require the disclosure of all financial transactions related to my personal account during Gu's early financing efforts. As the last sentence was spoken, Gu Chengyan's expression completely changed. One of the directors asked, President Wen, personal accounts. I looked at him. In the early days of Gu's company, 3 funds were obtained through bridge loans from my personal account in total, that amounted to 96 million. There was also a debt of 30 million, which was secured through the mortgage of my personal assets. All relevant contracts were signed by President Gu himself. The meeting room is now much quieter. Gu Chengyang closed his eyes. He knew that once these documents were made public, everyone would realize that his so-called story of starting from scratch was, in fact, partly created by him himself. I didn't mean to humiliate him deliberately. I'm just stating the facts. Han Yuanan submitted the documents onto the large screen. One page after another of contracts is displayed. Payment deadline, payment amount, payment account, Gu Chengyan's signature. The directors whispered among themselves. It seems that the initial funding was provided by Director Wen. How come there has been no any disclosure in these years? The private investment agreement includes confidentiality clauses, but the current audit team has the right to access these information. Gu Chengyang looked up at me. In that gaze there was anger, as well as a sense of embarrassment from being exposed. He whispered, Zai, do you really have to destroy me in front of everyone? I watched him. Gu Chengyang, it's not me who has caused your destruction, it's you who have treated those who deserve gratitude as people who can be sacrificed. His lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. The audit has entered the second phase. Path for downloading leaked information. The technicians retrieved the back-end records. Download account. T06 for temporary authorization, authorized person Jiyu Chengyang, login IP, internal network of the President's Office, file transfer time 7:42 p.m. external email address Lin Momo's personal email address. There was a sound of breathing coming from the conference room. Jiyu Chengyang suddenly turned his attention towards the legal department. I have not given any permissions for sending emails outside of my authorized range, the technician said. President Jiyu, the authorization record was initiated by your office computer. The temporary account was registered and used by Lin Momo, someone asked. Then why does the preliminary report point to Wen Ziyi from the administrative department? The marketing manager sat in the corner with a pale face. Han Yuanan handed out another document. The person who drafted that preliminary report was the marketing department manager. The suggestions for modification come from Lin Momo, and the final approver was Jiyu Chengyang. All the lines are now clear. Lin Momo revealed the secrets. The marketing department manager helped her shift the blame onto others. Jiyu Chengyang tried to suppress the scandal by forcing me to sign over to take responsibility for it. Jiyu Chengyan's face gradually lost its color. He looked at the large screen as if seeing for the first time what he had done. But I remained calm, because I already knew him before. At the end of the meeting, the board of directors decided to suspend the rotation of President Lin Momo's duties. The manager of the marketing department was suspended from her position to cooperate with the investigation, and third-party auditing was initiated. Jiyu Chengyang didn't object. He has no right to object. After leaving the conference room, Lin Momo was still standing outside. She rushed forward. President Jiyu. How is it? Did she really intend to harm me? No one spoke when she saw the indifferent expressions on the directors' faces. She finally became panicked. President Jiyu, please speak up. Jiyu Chengyang gave her a glance. That glance was quite complex: disappointment, annoyance, and also a little bit of regret. But it wasn't for me, it's for himself, he said. Lin Momo, you should go back and wait for further instructions. Lin Momo couldn't believe it. You want to remove me from my position? I walked past her. She suddenly grabbed my arm. Wen Ziyi, who on earth are you really? I stopped and withdrew my hand. Don't you already know that? She was stunned. I said, I am the Mrs. Jiyu that you can't bear to speak of. I watched her pale face, finishing each word carefully. It's also the investor you can't afford to offend against. On the day when Lin Momo was suspended from her duties, the Jiyu family's employees organized a protest. A screenshot has been spread everywhere. In the screenshot it seems that I am demanding a high from Jiyu Chengyang. If you don't give me 200 million, I will ruin the Jiyu Corporation. Below is some text for reference. A female administrative employee got married behind the scenes, but due to her position as an investor, she managed to extort the CEO. The intern was merely caught up in this situation. The person who sent the screenshot used an anonymous account, but the tone of his voice really sounds like Lin Momo's. In less than half an hour, the company's internal forum had already gained hundreds of comments. Some people say that I have deep intentions behind my actions. Some people say that Jiyu Chengyang is a pitiful person. Some people also say that once women have money, they become even more ruthless than men. I sat at the administrative desk looking at those comments. I didn't rush to delete them, nor did I rush to explain anything. Sister Chen was so angry that her face turned red. It's clear that this is a collaged image. Look at that sentence. The font sizes are all different. I nodded in agreement. I know. Then why don't you clarify things? Let it travel a little farther. Sister Chen was stunned. I turned the computer screen toward her so that she could see it. The farther the rumors spread, the higher the cost of spreading false information. Who sent the screenshot? Who has forwarded it? Who is manipulating the situation? All these details can be recorded as evidence. Sister Chen looked at me for a while, then said, "You're really different now." I smiled. It's not that they're different from each other, it's just that I used to be too lazy to bother about those details. In the past, I always thought that there was no need to argue over many things in a marriage. His mother is too talkative, but I can tolerate it. He doesn't make any public appearances. We have to wait. He was so busy that he forgot about the anniversary. I had to find him a reason to celebrate it instead. He protected Lin Momo at first. I even thought that he did it out of gratitude towards the Lin family. I managed to endure it until the end, and I found that they won't be grateful just because I took a step back. They only see the positions where I am placed as their own territory, as something they deserve. At 11 o'clock in the morning, Shen Sui sent out a message. The source of the screenshot has been identified. It comes from Lin Momo's account. The person who shared the screenshot the most was one of the 3 employees from the marketing department. He shared the computer with her. I replied, notarized, Shen Sui, I've already done it. By the way, I want to remind you that Jiyu Chengyang just called my assistant, asking whether the clause regarding compensation in the divorce agreement could be removed. I laughed once. He doesn't ask whether the marriage will end or not first. We need to find out if it's possible to reduce the amount of money that needs to be paid. This is Jiyu Chengyang. At noon, Jiyu Chengyang came to the administration department to see me. The entire department fell silent in an instant. He stood next to my workstation. Understand, come out with me. I didn't get up. During working hours, if there are any issues, please feel free to contact me via email. He was furious. Do you really have to be like me in the company? I looked up at him. President Jiyu, please pay attention to the potential impacts. These 4 words were what he used to use most often to oppress me in the past. I'll give it back to him now. It's a convenient way to do that. Jiyu Chengyang looked very upset, but he managed to hold back his emotions. The screenshots in the group weren't sent by me. I nodded in agreement. I know. His expression became a little more calm. No need. That's not a good thing for your reputation. I watched him. When I was splashed with coffee, you didn't even think about how my reputation would be affected by that. His Adam's apple rolled back and forth. I continued. When I was accused of stealing her bracelets, you didn't even think about how my reputation would be affected by this accusation. When you asked me to sign the disclosure report, you didn't even think about it. Jiyu Chengyang remained silent. No one in the entire administrative department dared to speak. Lin Momo's workstation is still empty. The water glass on her table is still there. That cup, decorated with a little rabbit, was brought back from abroad by Jiyu Chengyang. I've seen it before. When he returned from his business trip, he brought me a box of airport chocolates, saying that time was very limited. I brought a cup, a bracelet, and a limited edition pen for Lin Momo. It depends on the urgency of the situation. We need to consider the target first, Jiyu Chengyang said softly. I admit that I didn't handle things well. I asked, is it just that it's not good? He closed his eyes. I was wrong. This was the first time he made a mistake. But when these 2 words reached my ears, they didn't bring the excitement I expected. It's too late already. Arriving late is like drinking a cup of cold tea. Only bitterness remains after drinking it. Jiyu Chengyang. I handed him a printed document. These are screenshots of false information. If you really think you're wrong, then don't interfere anymore. He took it over, glanced at it a few times, and his expression changed immediately. You want to sue Momo? Depends on the situation. She's still young. I laughed out loud. When I was accused by her, she was still young. When she leaked the information, she was still young. Even when she started spreading rumors, she was still young. I watched him. Jiyu Chengyang, am I not still young? He was left speechless. I was 26 years old when I married him. I left him at the age of 29. The 3 years that I spent with him were all spent paying for his ambitions. He used the words "she is still young" to try to get me to do it again. Why? In the afternoon, Lin Momo went back to the company to get some things. She no longer had the flamboyant appearance of yesterday. She wore a mask on her face and her eyes were red and swollen, but as soon as she saw me, she seemed to have found an outlet for her emotions. Wen Zai, are you satisfied now? Everyone in the administrative department, please turn your attention here. I didn't get up. What do you mean by being satisfied? She took off her mask, her voice shrill. You caused me to be suspended from work. And now you want to sue me again. Isn't that what you do all the time? Destroy people just because you have money. Money seems to be the key to doing whatever you want. I watched her. Lin Momo, it was you who destroyed those people. She sneered. Don't pretend to be so noble. If it weren't for you hiding your identity and entering the company, who would misunderstand you? You're simply trying to play games and get us to laugh at your expense. I stood up. So you admit that you bullied me, framed me, and spread rumors about me. She was surprised. I placed my phone on the table. The screen is lit up. Recording in progress. Her expression changed instantly. You're recording again, I said. Yes, because you always provide me with new evidence every time. There were people around who were laughing in whispers. Lin Momo was so angry that she could hardly control herself. Suddenly, she pointed at me. Don't be too proud. President Ji doesn't love you at all. If he really loved you, he would let me enter the president's office, he would give me a dress, and call me brother Ian. This time no one stood up for her to speak on her behalf because everyone can hear it. She isn't an innocent in turn. She knew that the other person had a wife, yet she still deliberately provoked him. Sister Chen stepped forward. Lin Momo, you said earlier in the lounge that when Zai was about to be fired, and that you would go to the president's office immediately. I heard everything you said. Lin Momo suddenly looked at her. You're talking nonsense. Sister Chen took out her phone. I wasn't talking nonsense, I was just organizing the flowers on my chest, and accidentally recorded the sound as a reminder for future use. Recording and playback. Lin Momo's voice was very clear and distinct. She's not even good enough to be the company's cleaning lady. President Ji doesn't dare to expose her publicly. In the future, with me working at the president's office, she won't have any place at all. The administrative department has been completely destroyed. Some people gasped in shock. Someone whispered that she was too disgusting. Lin Momo's face was pale, and she turned around and ran away. Standing at the door was Ji Chengyang. He didn't know when he would arrive. He should have heard everything during the recording. Lin Momo rushed forward. President Ji, it's not true, they conspired against me. Ji Chengyang didn't help her, he just stared at her. Did you know from the beginning that Zai was my wife? Lin Momo shook her head, crying, I don't have any information, I'm just making guesses. Do you really say that she's not even good enough to work as a cleaner? Lin Momo's lips trembled. That was just an expression of anger. Ji Chengyang closed his eyes. He finally heard it with his own ears. Those things that he thought I found sensitive or petty about, turned out to be all things that actually happened, but I no longer need him to believe anything anymore. I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. Ji Chengyang called out to me, in understanding terms. I stopped. He said, I'm sorry, I didn't turn around. This sentence you should say to me about the 3 years that have passed. After saying that, I walked out of the administrative department. The crying of Lin Momo behind me became louder and louder, but this time, no one tried to coax her anymore. On the day when the results of the special audit were released, GU held a temporary board meeting. I arrived 10 minutes ahead of schedule. This time, I no longer wore the administrative badge. I wore a white suit with my hair tied up. My makeup was very light. Shen Sui joined me along. She held the folder in her hands, glancing at the people waiting outside the conference room. It seems that everyone is here today, I said. Of course, people gather together during the time of distributing money, and the same happens during the time of holding people accountable. Shen Sui laughed. You're becoming more and more like me in your way of speaking. I watched the figure of Ji Chengyang inside the glass door. Those who... Shen Sui raised his eyebrows. Congratulations, you're finally free from being a hopeless romantic. I didn't argue back. The door opens. The secretary of the board invited me to come in. Ji Chengyang is already sitting in the main seat. When he saw Shen Sui, his gaze became somber. This is a meeting within the Ji family. I said, Lawyer Shen is my representative today. Matters related to my personal finances, marital property, and reputation are involved. She has the right to be present during these proceedings. Ji Chengyang didn't say anything anymore. Lin Momo has also arrived. She sat at the very end, her face looking exhausted. Beside her was the legal department of the company. She no longer cries. Perhaps they know that tears are useless. The audit reports are being released one page at a time. Part 1 Leakage Incidents. It was confirmed that Lin Momo violated the rules by using temporary permissions, sending unpublished plans from the marketing department to her personal email address. Part 2 The Framing Incident. It has been confirmed that the purchase record of the bracelet does not match what Lin Momo stated. Additionally, the process for borrowing spare keys at the workstation is irregular. Part 3 Internal Rumors and Misinformation. It has been confirmed that the anonymous account was registered with the real name and mobile number of Lin Momo. There are signs of splicing in the screenshot. In the fourth part, Ji Chengyang handles situations where procedures are violated before completing the investigation. He tried to get me to sign a statement of responsibility. When reading this part, the atmosphere in the meeting room became extremely tense. Ji Chengyan's expression was very troubled. One of the directors said, President Ji, this matter has a significant impact on corporate governance, especially since Lin Momo is just an intern. Why does she have so many powers? No one answered because the answer is right in front of everyone's eyes. She obtained those permissions not because of her abilities, it's because Ji-Yu Chengyang opened the door for her. Lin Momo suddenly stood up. I didn't do it on purpose to. The legal officer held her down. But she managed to break free. I just wanted to prove myself. I sent the documents to my personal email account in order to go home and work overtime. As for those screenshots, well, when Zai kept targeting me, I was afraid. That's why I did that. Shen Sui interrupted her. Miss Lin, every word you say will be recorded in the meeting minutes. I suggest you think things through before speaking. Lin Momo bit her lip. She looked at Ji-Yu Chengyang. President Ji-Yu, could you say a few words for me? I'm doing all this. Isn't it also for the benefit of the Ji-Yu family? Ji-Yu Chengyan's expression became cold. I didn't send it to competitors at all. Why do the competitors manage to get them? Lin Momo couldn't say anything. Han Yuan added a sentence. The audit results show that Miss Lin's personal email account was used to access external shared devices. While this doesn't prove that she actively sold information, it certainly indicates that she violated the rules seriously. Lin Momo's legs became weak and she fell back onto the chair. I watched her. Once she sat next to my desk and laughed, saying that I wasn't even good enough to work as a cleaner. Now she sits at the end of the board, with even lifting her head being a challenge. But I didn't feel much joy in my heart. I just found it noisy. This farce must come to an end. It's my turn to speak now. I stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, I will talk about only 3 things today. Everyone looked at me. Firstly, Chaoshi Capital will not maliciously withdraw funds from the Ji-Yu family due to my marital relationship with Ji-Yu Chengyang. However, the Ji-Yu family must complete the necessary reforms and improvements. Otherwise, future financing will be suspended. Gu Chengyang looked up at me. It seems like he didn't expect that I wouldn't actually destroy the company right there. I didn't do it for him. There are also many ordinary employees working in Gu's company. They shouldn't have to pay for Ji-Yu Chengyan's personal virtues. Secondly, the bridge funds and guarantees that I provided to the Ji-Yu family 3 years ago will be settled. According to the contract, what remains to be paid will be paid in full. Several directors nodded in agreement. Third, my marriage with Ji-Yu Chengyang will now enter the process of divorce. From today on, no one shall ever demand that I assume any responsibilities related to the Ji-Yu family or Gu's assets again. As these words were spoken, the conference room became so quiet that one could hear the rustling of needles. Ji-Yu Chengyan's face turned pale. He finally understood that I wasn't trying to scare him. I really don't want him anymore. Lin Momo suddenly laughed. It's very light and also very sharp. When Zai, why act so calmly? Isn't your intention to make President Ji-Yu regret his decision? I looked at her. You're wrong. She stared at me intently. I said, I don't need him to feel regret. All I need is his signature. Ji-Yu Chengyan's fingers trembled slightly. Shen Sui placed the 3rd version of the divorce agreement on the table. Mr. Ji-Yu, here is the updated version of the agreement. It includes provisions related to reputation infringement, compensation for damages incurred due to breaches of contract, as well as arrangements for sharing marital debts. Please ask your lawyer to provide a response within 3 working days. Ji-Yu Chengyang didn't accept it. He looked at me. I understand. Can we have a private conversation? I said. No. His eyes were a little red. Do you really have to do this in front of everyone? I watched him calmly. Gu Chengyang, when you asked me to apologize to Lin Momo in front of everyone, you didn't even ask me whether I wanted to have a private conversation with you. His face became even whiter. The meeting has concluded. The directors gradually left one after another. Lin Momo was kept by the legal department to sign an investigation report. When she saw me walking by, she suddenly rushed towards me. When Zai, I just want to stay with the Ji-Yu family. I just want to have a chance. Why should I have everything from the moment I'm born? I stopped walking. I wasn't born with everything. She sneered. Do you really want to pretend to be an ordinary person? I watched her. I started my business at the age of 22. I slept on the office floor, was drunk by investors, and my partners tried to lower the price of my products. I even had my first payment stolen from me. It was during this time that Ji-Yu Chengyang failed in his business. I managed to save my company from collapse at that time. I stepped closer. I have come to this day not by crying. If you want opportunities, you can fight for them, learn from others, and endure through hardships. But if you choose to climb up on others' shoulders, then don't blame others for pushing you down. Lin Momo's tears fell down. This time, No one handed out tissues. Jiyu Chengyang stood not far away, watching everything around him. I didn't look at him at all as he stepped out of the conference room. He chased after him. In understanding terms, I continued to move forward. He followed behind me. I admit that I made a huge mistake. I shouldn't have concealed the truth about my marriage. I shouldn't have caused you to suffer, and I shouldn't have believed her at all. I stopped. There was urgency in his eyes. Let's start over, okay? I can make public announcements. I can arrange the wedding again. I can do anything I want. I interrupted him. Jiyu Chengyang, do you know what the most ironic thing is? He was stunned. I said, I will wait until the right time comes. You said that the current situation wasn't suitable yet. Now I don't want to wait any longer. You suddenly think that the time is right now. His lips moved slightly. I continued, what you're trying to make up for isn't the wedding itself, but your own sense of guilt. After saying that, I walked into the elevator. As the door closed behind me, I saw him standing there still, like someone who finally realizes that the door is locked. Jiyu Chengyang did not sign the divorce agreement, but Zhu Lanji became anxious first. She blocked the way down to my apartment along with other members of the Jiyu family. When I went downstairs, the property manager was trying to stop people from entering. As soon as Zhu Lanji saw me, she rushed over to me. Wen Zai, do you still have the face to hide from us? You stopped the Jiyu family's account, cut off Cheng's car loan, and now you're demanding that Chengyang pay back the money. Are you trying to drive us to death? I looked at the group of relatives behind her, familiar ones, unfamiliar ones. Everyone came. In the past they used the money I gave them to travel, eat, and buy gifts. They always made sure to let me know about everything they did. Now that the money is gone, they say I have no conscience at all. I said to the property manager, please report this to the police. Zhu Lanji's voice became even sharper. Do you really dare to report this to the police? I am your mother-in-law. I said, it won't be soon anymore. She was so angry that she couldn't stop shaking. Do you really want to get divorced? Yes, don't regret it. After leaving the Jiyu family, you will become a second married woman. What does having more money really mean? After your reputation is ruined, who will want to be with you? I laughed. Ms. Zhu, do you still believe that women live their lives with the expectation of being desired by someone? She choked on. A relative nearby is also helping out. I understand your concerns. Couples often argue from one end of the bed to the other. Chengyang is young and promising. Don't ruin your life just because of one in turn. I looked at him. When your son bought the house, the Jiyu family borrowed 3 million from me. Has they paid it back yet? That relative's face became stiff. I looked at the other one again. The money you used to pay for your daughter's study abroad was transferred from my account by Zhu Lanji. Do you know about that? The other person immediately lowered their head. I took out a notebook from my bag, black cover. Every page contains records of transfers, details of expenses, and additional notes. When Zhu Lanji saw the ledger, her expression immediately changed. Do you still remember all these things? I said, I didn't bring it out before, but that doesn't mean I don't have it anymore. She rushed forward, trying to grab it. Shen Sui stepped forward from behind me, blocking my path. Ms. Zhu, the evidence materials were stolen. There are surveillance cameras at the scene. Only then did Zhu Lanji see Shen Sui. Who are you again? Wen Zai's lawyer. Zhu Lanji sneered. Is the lawyer really that amazing? She has been married into the Jiyu family for 3 years. And she lives and eats with the Jiyu family. What's wrong with spending a little money? Shen Sui opened the ledger. First, before her marriage, when Zai owned an independent property under her name, there was no need for her to share accommodation with her family. Second, the costs related to the Jiyu family's villa in the city, as well as utilities and childcare expenses, were paid from Wen Zai's personal account over the past 3 years. Third, Ms. Zhu, the total amount spent on the 3 credit cards you own amounts to 876 million yuan. A large portion of these expenses were unrelated to your family life. The expressions of the relatives around them changed. Someone whispered, so many. Zhu Lanji was furious with anger. She is my daughter-in-law. Shouldn't I be grateful for her kindness? I closed the notebook. Respect is a matter of affection, not an obligation. It's not your right to humiliate me. Zhu Lanji pointed at me. Now you seem to be more confident, right? Is it because you have money? If it weren't for Chengyang, could you have entered our family? I watched her. You turned them the wrong way. She was stunned for a moment. What? I said, it wasn't Jiyu Chengyang who made me, it was me who supported Jiyu Chengyang. The surroundings became quiet in an instant. Just then, A black car stopped by the roadside. Jiyu Chengyang got out of the car. He must have rushed here with his tie completely loose. Mom, that's enough. When Julanji saw him, she immediately started crying. Chengyang. Please look at her, she's now using a lawyer to force us to pay back the money. They even plan to report your mother to the police. Jiyu Chengyang looked at me. There was fatigue in his eyes as well as pain. I understand Mom is old now, please don't argue with her. When I heard these words I suddenly laughed. It's the same again. Lin Momo is young, Julanji is older, Guo Chengze is too naive. Everyone has their reasons, only I can't be treated unfairly like this. I handed the ledger to Shen Sui. Go through the legal procedures. Jiyu Chengyan's expression changed immediately. In understanding terms, I watched him. Your mother is old, so she might not be as sensible as others, but you're an adult. You know who paid for all this money, and you also know how she has humiliated me over the years. His gaze shifted slightly away. I asked, have you ever said anything on my behalf? He remained silent. No, I answered for him. You will only make me suffer. Julanji is still crying. Chengyang, don't try to plead with her, she's too cruel and sooner or later she will face retribution. Jiyu Chengyang suddenly roared out, Mom, stop talking. Julanji was frightened. Jiyu Chengyang looked at me, his voice becoming lower. Julanji screamed, Chengyang. He didn't look at her at all. What needs to be paid back? I will definitely pay it back. I nodded. Very good, he said. But can we wait a little longer before getting divorced? I asked. What do you wait for? His throat felt tight. I'll take care of the company first, then I'll deal with Momo, and finally I'll take care of things at home. I watched him. Jiyu Chengyang, you still don't understand. I don't want to get a divorce because of these things. He was stunned. Then what is the reason for that? Because every time you deal with problems, you always put me last. His eyes were slightly red. I continued. The company needs to raise funds, that's all I have to say. Your mother values reputation, so that's also all I have to offer. Lin Momo wants an opportunity, so that's also all I have to give. Jiyu Jia needs money, so that's also all I have to do. I stared at him, not a word missing. Now I won't wait any longer. He stood still, as if that sentence had shattered him completely. What can be shattered are his illusions, it's not my heart. In the afternoon, news came that Lin Momo had reported me anonymously. She submitted materials to the regulatory authorities, claiming that Chaoshi Capital involved transferring benefits to Gu's early investments and that she used her marital relationship to exploit company resources. Shen Sui sent me the reporting materials. She's gone mad. After reading it, I felt actually calm. She isn't crazy, she simply feels that she has nothing left, and therefore wants to drag me into her troubles. Shen Sui asked, what should we do? I've retrieved the complete financial transaction records from 3 years ago. Every amount of money has a source from which it comes, every contract has corresponding tax records associated with it, every guarantee is signed by the board of directors. I said, submit it. Shen Sui laughed. What I'm waiting for is precisely this sentence. In the evening, Jiyu Chengyang came to see me again. He stood outside the apartment door, his voice hoarse. I know Lin Momo has reported you. I will handle this matter. I said, no need. Through the door, she came after you. So there's no need for you to do anything. Stand still outside the door for a few seconds, he asked. Do you really not believe me at this point? I stood behind the door. No, I said. I finally started to trust myself. The regulatory meeting is scheduled for Friday morning. I went with Shen Sui. Jiyu Chengyang has also arrived. He sat on the other side, looking even more haggard than before. There is a long table between us. It's like all those unspoken disappointments that remain hidden throughout 3 years of marriage. The staff gathered relevant materials. Lin Momo's report is quite comprehensive. It's so complete that it seems impossible for an intern like her to complete it alone. She mentioned that Chaoshi Capital's early investment prices were quite unusual. It is said that my marriage with Jiyu Chengyang was kept secret, which constitutes a related transaction that wasn't disclosed properly. It is said that I used my position as the investor to pressure the Jiyu board of directors, even included a few photos of the contract from Jiyu Chengyan's office computer. These photos shouldn't be in her hands at all. After finishing reading, Shen Sui looked up at Jiyu Chengyang. Mr. Jiyu, these documents are only accessible by those with executive office permissions. Jiyu Chengyang looked very upset. I didn't give it to her. The staff member asked, has Lin Momo ever used your office computer? Jiyu Chengyang remained silent. The answer is already quite clear. He used to let her enter and leave the president's office at will. I let her use his elevator freely. I indulged in letting her call him Iron Brother. He indulged her to the point where she believed that all boundaries related to Jiyu Chengyang could be opened for her. Now the backlash is coming. I've submitted the complete information. This is the financial audit report prepared since the establishment of Chaoshi Capital. This is the board of directors' resolution regarding GU's early financing efforts. This is the pre-marriage and post-marriage property separation agreement between me and Jiyu Chengyang. All investments were made outside of the joint property acquired after marriage. The agreement was signed with the knowledge of GU's board of directors. The staff checked each page carefully. Jiyu Chengyang suddenly looked at me. When did you prepare all these things? I said, it was from the moment you first said that you couldn't publicly announce your marriage. He was stunned. I continued, at that time I wasn't saying that I didn't believe you. I just realized that people shouldn't entrust their entire lives to a mere promise. His eyes had a complex expression. Perhaps it was only then that he realized that the love I had for him back then wasn't simply a blind loyalty to him without any limits. I have love, they also have brains. Just in the past, I was willing to let love take the lead. I don't want to do it anymore. After the interview, the staff stated that the materials presented were complete, and many of the accusations made in the report lacked evidence. However, Lin Momo was suspected of using internal information without authorization, making false reports and disclosing confidential business documents. Therefore, she will be transferred to the company and relevant departments for further investigation. When she stepped out of the interview room, Lin Momo received additional explanations from the company's legal department. When she saw me, her expression changed instantly. How come you aren't hurt? I didn't answer. Shun Sui said for me. I'm sorry if I let you down. Lin Momo turned her head to look at Jiyu Chengyang. President Jiyu, please say a word for me. Those documents weren't stolen by me. They actually existed on your computer from the beginning. I just recorded them as a way of protecting myself. Jiyu Chengyang looked at her. Who told you to enter my office and take pictures of my documents? Lin Momo cried. Didn't you say that I could come to you anytime I wanted? This sentence was like a slap in the face, hitting Jiyu Chengyang in the face. His face was pale. I stood by, suddenly feeling a sense of irony. The privileges he once granted her have now turned into evidence. The legal officer took Lin Momo to another office. She struggled and cried out, Jiyu Chengyang, you can't do this to me. You said that my father had helped you and that you would take care of me. Jiyu Chengyang didn't pursue them. There was also no explanation given. He simply stood there without moving. I walked past him. He suddenly spoke up. Do I really seem stupid to you? Was I really that foolish in the past? I stopped. Not just that. He gave a bitter smile. You don't even want to scold me anymore now, I said, because there's no need to do it. The light in his eyes dimmed away. In the afternoon, GU issued an internal notice. Lin Momo's internship contract has been terminated. The marketing department manager was demoted and now has to undergo an investigation. The permissions of the president's office have been completely revised. Jiyu Chengyang was required by the board of directors to submit an explanation for his management failures. At the same time, Zhu Lanji called me. I've accepted the request. Her voice no longer sounds as authoritative as it used to. I know Mom used to speak too harshly before. Don't take it to heart. I didn't say anything, she continued. How can there be feuds between family members over things that happened in the past? Chengyang is under a lot of pressure right now. You can't leave him at this time, I asked. Ms. Zhu, were you calling to apologize, or did you want me to continue to take responsibility on his behalf? She laughed awkwardly. You kids, why are you speaking in such a rough manner? Mom really cares about you all. Then you should pay back the money. There is silence on the other end of the phone. I said. The supplementary cards you used, the money lent out as goodwill gestures, as well as Jiyu Cheng's car loan and gambling debts, all of these have been sorted out. The lawyer will contact you soon. Zhu Lanji's voice immediately changed. Wen Ziyi, please don't be so heartless. I hung up the phone. Some people's so-called bowing down is simply a temporary inability to stand on their feet any longer. In the evening, Shun Sui invited me to eat together. She ordered a table full of light dishes. Congratulations on winning the reporting challenge. I picked up the cup. I haven't won yet. The rest is just the divorce agreement. I nodded. Jiyu Chengyang won't sign this easily. Shun Sui picks up some food with his chopsticks. He isn't reluctant to leave behind his marriage, he's simply reluctant to lose you as his support and companion. This statement is quite straightforward. It's also very accurate. I used to be Ji-Yu Chengyan's most reliable asset. He was working outside, while someone else took care of his mother at home. The company is short of money, so someone will cover it for them. He makes mistakes, and someone else takes the blame for him. He turned around, looking tired. I was still there now. I no longer exist. What he was panicking about wasn't love, it's out of control. I was halfway through my meal when my phone rang. It's a message sent by Ji-Yu Chengyang. I will attend the mediation tomorrow. Then another one. I want to see you once more. There's no need to talk about money or the company anymore. We just need to talk about ourselves. I stared at those 2 lines of text. No responses yet, Shun Sui asked, soft-hearted. I shook my head. I just feel that, finally, he's willing to talk to us. Then, I placed my phone upside down on the table, but I really don't want to talk about it anymore. The divorce mediation room is quite small, white walls, a long table, 2 chairs. In the middle there is a box of tissues. Many marriages seem to end here. There were no flowers at the wedding. There is no oath to be recited. There were only lists of assets, divisions of debts, and dates of signing. By the time I arrived, Ji-Yu Chengyang was already there. He dressed very formally. It's like participating in a crucial negotiation, but there are red streaks in my eyes. On the table lies our wedding ring. The one I have is very shiny after being polished. I sat down. Shun Sui sat next to me. Ji-Yu Chengyan's lawyer was also present. The mediator confirms the information according to the process. Gu Chengyang kept looking at me. I looked down at the agreement on the first page. Both parties voluntarily agree to dissolve their marriage relationship. Page 2, the ownership of premarital property. On the third page, there is information regarding Gu's early investments and liquidations. Page 4, recourse regarding Ji-Yu family-related consumer-related matters. Page 5, rights of reputation infringement are reserved. Page 6, division of joint debts. On page 7, discussions regarding mental harm during the period of secret marriage. Page 8, confidentiality provisions. On page 9, there is a personal debt commitment by Ji-Yu Chengyang. When he reached page 9, his expression changed. In understanding terms, this page, I said, is there a problem? He looked up. I admit that you helped me with this money, but do you really want to charge interest according to the contract? I watched him. The contract was signed by you. At that time, we were husband and wife. When we signed the contract, we weren't even publicly married yet. You know, companies and marriages should be separated from each other. He was blocked. This sentence was also spoken by him. He said that they should separate from each other. I will now fulfill his wishes. Ji-Yu Chengyang said softly. I don't mean to refuse, I just need some time. Shun Sui spoke up. The agreement already includes a plan for installment payments, the shares, properties, and personal income belonging to Mr. Ji-Yu can be executed in accordance with the law. Ji-Yu Chengyang didn't look at Shun Sui at all. He only looked at me. I understand, you never acted like this before. I laughed. I never thought that you would actually force me to sign this disclosure statement. His face turned pale. The mediator cleared his throat once. Both parties should communicate calmly. Ji-Yu Chengyang suddenly pulled the wedding ring towards me. I know that it's too late to say anything now, but I want you to know that I never really didn't love you. I stared at that ring, vegetarian circle. It's very simple. 3 years ago when I wore it, I felt that it was heavier than any other diamond ring, because at that time, I believed that Ji-Yu Chengyang could not provide grandeur, but he could provide sincerity. Only later did I realize that true sincerity without corresponding actions to support it is nothing more than mere emotion. Emotions will change. Once the benefits arrived, they disappeared immediately. Ji-Yu Chengyan's voice was hoarse. I loved you once, but later the pressure at work became too much. My mother rushed me into making decisions, and there were also personal matters involving the Lin family. I thought you understood me best, so I always asked you to give me some leeway. I said, I understand. His eyes lit up a little. I continued, I understand why you did what you did, and I also understand why you chose to sacrifice me. The light then turned on and then went out again, but understanding doesn't mean acceptance. He lowered his head. I know. He remained silent for a long time and then suddenly said, if it weren't for Lin Momo, would we not have ended up in this situation? I shook my head. Yes. He looked up. I said, Lin Momo just exposed the problems earlier than expected. Without her, there would still be others who could do the same thing. As long as you think that I will always remain in the same place, then you will always put me in the last place. Ji Chengyan's eyes turned red. I now realize that I was wrong. Can you give me a chance? It's not possible. The response was very short. It's also very stable. Ji Chengyang seemed to have lost all his energy. His lawyer whispered to him, reminding him that the agreement could be discussed again, but he didn't listen. Suddenly, there was a noise of arguing coming from outside the mediation room. Immediately afterwards, the door was opened. Lin Momo rushed in. Her hair was messy and her eyes were red. Ji Chengyang, how can you blame all the responsibilities on me? Everyone was stunned. The legal department is still behind us. Miss Lin, you are not allowed to enter here. Lin Momo pointed at Ji Chengyang. It was you who asked me to enter the president's office. It was you who allowed me to use your computer. You said that when Zai has a bad temper, so I shouldn't be afraid of her. Now something goes wrong and you claim that I'm just an intern. Ji Chengyan's face turned a deep blue color. Lin Momo, get out, she screamed. I don't want to go out. I have no internship opportunities anymore, no recommendation letters, and the school will also punish me. I have nothing left. Why can you still be the CEO? The mediator immediately asked people to maintain order. Shen Sui, however, gave me a glance. I understand what she means. This text is very useful. Lin Momo continued to cry and scream. You know very well that I like you. Instead of rejecting me, you still gave me a bracelet and a dress. You even let me call you Brother Yang. You really enjoy the respect I have for you. Ji Chengyang suddenly stood up. Shut up. Lin Momo was shocked by the loud voice. But I remained calm. I already knew all of these words. Now it's her who speaks these words out loud, completing the last piece of the puzzle on my behalf. I picked up the pen and signed the last page of the divorce agreement. When Zai, the handwriting is clean, with no pauses in the text. Ji Chengyang watched my movements and his face turned immediately pale. Intended meaning. I handed the pen to him. Sign it. His hand didn't move at all. I said, Ji Chengyang, don't let me see you like this for the last time. This statement is more effective than asking him to do something. He closed his eyes and finally picked up the pen to write. When signing, his hand trembled severely. The last stroke of the word Ji Chengyang was drawn very long. It seems like they really don't want to stop, but it's already over. In reality, Lin Momo stood at the door and suddenly laughed, laughing, and then crying again. You all ruined me. I looked at her. Lin Momo, no one destroyed you. Every step you took was your own decision. She stared at me with a fierce look on her face. You have money, so of course you would say that. I stood up. Having money isn't a reason for me to act unfairly, and being broke is no excuse for causing harm. After saying that, I picked up the agreement. Shen Sui finished organizing the documents. Let's go outside, Gu Chengyang called out to me from behind me. In understanding terms, I stopped for a moment. There is no way to turn back, he asked. Will you remember me in the future? I took hold of the doorknob. Do you remember? Sure, I remember the young man who promised to give me everything during that rainy night. I remember that man who got me blamed during the board meeting. I remember once, in his sake, I even pushed my boundaries so far that they became practically invisible. But it's just a memory now. I won't look back, I said. Yes. His breathing became more rapid. I continued. I will remind myself not to love in such a vulnerable way anymore. The door opens. I walked out. The public briefing by GU will take place 3 days later. It's not meant for the media. It is directed to all employees and the board of directors. The conference room was filled with people. On the large screen it reads, Instructions for Internal Governance Improvements. Ji Chengyang stood on the stage. He has become much thinner than before. The sound remains stable, but I know that he is no longer the person who was once worshipped and revered by everyone. He publicly acknowledged 3 things. Firstly, there are significant vulnerabilities in the internal permission management system of the GU family. Secondly, Lin Momo engaged in illegal activities, spread rumors, and disclosed confidential information. As a result, the company has terminated her internship agreement and is taking legal action against her. Third, he himself was clearly inappropriate in handling internal disputes. He accepted accountability from the board of directors and temporarily relinquished some of his management powers, allowing the board to oversee any necessary improvements. The room was very quiet. Lin Momo didn't come. I heard that she was punished by the school, And the overseas internship that was originally arranged for her was also cancelled. Her father asked someone to try to find Jiyu Chengyang. Jiyu Chengyang did not appear again. What she lost wasn't just her internship, it's a privilege to take shortcuts through tears and privileges. At the end of the briefing, Jiyu Chengyang looked at me. I sat in the first row at the investor's seat. It's not Mrs. Jiyu, it's not the administrative department's decision. It's just Wen Ziyi, he said. At the same time, I would like to apologize to Ms. Wen Ziyi. During the early stages of GU's development, she provided significant support. I personally caused harm to her in both her personal and work-related matters. There were faint murmurs among the audience. I have no expression at all. This apology comes too late, but it is meant to come. It's not to make me forgive, it is to bring the truth back to its rightful place. Jiyu Chengyang paused for a few seconds. I'm sorry, he said. Wen Ziyi, it's not a complete understanding of the meaning. It's not Mrs. Jiyu, that is my full name. I nodded gently. I accept the apology. No returns are accepted. After the presentation, the employees gradually left one by one. Sister Chen came over, her eyes a little red. I didn't know you had suffered so much before, Mr. Wen. I laughed. They've all passed by. She asked, will you still come to the company in the future? I looked towards the light in the sky outside the hall. They will come, but it's just for meetings. Sister Chen also laughed. That's great. When you sit in the main seat, it looks much better than when you sit at an administrative desk. I was made laugh by her. Han Yuanan came over and handed me a plan for rectification. President Wen, I will continue to follow up on the subsequent audits. I took it over. Thank you for your hard work. He hesitated for a moment. Actually, President Jiyu. I looked up. Han Yuanan immediately stopped. I'm sorry. I shook my head. Nothing to worry about. He didn't say anything else. Jiyu Chengyang walked towards the stage from below. People around us wisely dispersed away from each other. He stood in front of me. Should I give you a ride? I said, no need. He gave a bitter smile. Now I can't even bring you to the door anymore. I watched him. Jiyu Chengyang, you need to learn not to cross the boundaries. He remained silent, then he nodded his head. Okay. We walked side by side towards the hall. This is probably the last time we walk like this after our divorce 3 years ago. I accompanied him for the first time to the new Jiyu family office building. At that time, the building wasn't yet fully renovated. He took my hand and stood in the empty hall, saying, in the future there will be many people here and it will be very lively. Understand, you will be the hostess here. Later, this place became really lively, but he hid me away. Now I finally managed to step out into the light openly, but she is no longer his mistress. When he reached the door, he stopped. What are your plans for the future? I said, take a vacation. He was somewhat surprised. I smiled. These past few years have been too exhausting. I want to sleep well for a few days before staying by the sea for a while. He looked at me with deep regret in his eyes. I never knew that you wanted to go to the beach. I said, you didn't ask. In a single sentence, his eyes turned red again. I didn't try to comfort him at all. I stepped forward to the front of the stage and took off my previous administrative badge. Wen Ziyi Administration Department Employee ID A017. I took one last look at it, then throw it into the recycling bin. The plastic card fell to the bottom, making a very light sound. It's like a certain part of life truly comes to an end. Jiyu Chengyang stood behind him, his voice very low. Goodbye until then. I didn't turn around. Goodbye. As I stepped out of the GU's building, the sunlight fell on me. Shen Sui's car was parked by the roadside. She lowered the window. President Wen, the divorce is successful. My identity has been restored. The villain is now out of the picture. How do you feel right now? I sat down in the co-pilot seat. I thought about it for a while. Hungry. Shen Sui laughed heartily. Okay, I'll take you to eat something. The car started moving. The GU's building seems to get farther and farther away. In the rearview mirror, I saw that Jiyu Chengyang was still standing at the door. It's very small, it's very far. It's like an old dream that I finally let go of. The phone vibrated slightly. It's a notification from the bank. Jiyu family's first payment has been received. Immediately afterwards, Shen Sui's assistant sent a message. Lin Momo's case of the next name is Han Yuan. GU's rectification plan has been updated according to Director Wen's suggestions. Everything is moving forward. I turned my phone to silent mode. Shen Sui asked, do you really not want to watch it? I don't want to watch anymore. Where to go? I looked out of the window. The city is very large and the roads are quite wide. In the past, I always spent my time surrounding Jiyu Chengyang, the Jiyu family and the Jiyu clan. Now it's finally my turn to choose a direction, I said. Let's go eat first, then we'll head to the beach. Shen Sui stepped on the accelerator. The wind blew in through the slightly open window. Suddenly, I realized that freedom isn't something that requires dramatic or overwhelming efforts. Freedom means that there is no need to wait for anyone to expose me publicly. There's no need to worry anymore about whether I'm qualified or not. I don't want to be a name that can't be seen in anyone else's life anymore. I don't want to be a name that is considered unacceptable. My name is Wen Ziyi. From today onwards, I will only sign my works with my name.